weeks, possibly a few days, we might see a sale of TikTok. So the bidding is taking place still between Microsoft, Oracle, and one other surprising player that has now jumped into the fold, according to reports this morning, and that's Walmart teaming up with SoftBank and Masasan. Now, this might be a non-starter for the White House since they want a purely U.S. buyer of TikTok. Now, the latest reports also in the last hour suggest that Oracle and two venture capitalist groups are right now set to announce a buy and a purchase for $20 billion. And this is just for the regions of the U.S., Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. Now, one other report, again, this is coming thick and fast this morning, suggests that we're going to see a deal in just 48 hours. And the buyer here likely to be Microsoft in the range of maybe $20 to $30 billion. We know that the New York Times has been reporting about the chaos surrounding this forced sale of TikTok because of the president's executive ban on TikTok. And a lot of suitors have jumped in thinking that this might be a fire sale deal, including Steve Schwartzman and Blackstone. They've inquired about this as well, but Microsoft is probably the furthest along.
I can see how it will
Look,
be.
They've already highlighted that September 15th is when we're going to likely get a deal. We need to get a deal by September 15th.
Soon.
They have 90 days to close it, but it'll be interesting to see whether or not there might be a delay because of the TikTok lawsuit against the executive ban. But they say that, Microsoft is probably the best suitor in terms of what we call synergies, which is what you need to think about in these M&A deals.
I don't know how to pronounce this. Xpeng.
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 Yeah.
The Chinese rival to Tesla, listing in the U.S. today. Is that
That's
right?
right. That's right. It's listed today. They're still trying to match buyers and sellers, so we don't actually have an opening price just yet. But they raised $1.5 billion, popular offering because they actually sold more shares, priced them higher at $15 a piece, selling 100 million shares. So that values the company at around $11 billion. Alibaba is a backer, and we know that electric car companies are hot this year. Tesla and NIO, which is another Chinese Tesla, both up over 400% so far this year. I'm still looking for the opening price here for Xpeng, but Xpeng, they have only 4,000 sales so far in the first 6 months of this year. They're selling a sedan, which is rivaling the Model 3, the Tesla Model 3, and an SUV in the future. Tesla has outsold both NIO and Xpeng combined. This is a foreign car maker that's winning the Chinese electric car market. How amazing is that? And some would say that's the reason why Tesla deserves the valuation and the rally, the 400% rally that we've seen so far this year.
You got an electric car, you got an electric truck, you got a stock, the stock goes up.
Yeah, and you have...
So far.
Some would say a genius as a founder.
And yet, only 3% of the global car market,
4% penetration,
4%
right?
is electric vehicles.
That's right.
Only 4% the entire market. And all they're talking about is maybe going to 10% by 2030.
Right. But you can't discount, as I mentioned to you, the most interesting statistic I saw this morning was a short selling pressure still on Tesla. Number one in the U.S., over $20 billion worth of stock is betting that Tesla will fall from these $2,000 price levels.
Well, something to do with the TikTok bidding war and their position in it.
I would say that, again, Microsoft is probably just going up along with the broader tech rally that we've seen today. And Microsoft, yes, they have the cash, but they would still have to, they reportedly would bring in the early venture capitalists, investors in TikTok because they have to. They want to keep their stakes.
Can you show me Amazon? Because I think we've got several headlines, again, coming out of Amazon. They're down at the moment. Give me the headlines. What's it all about?
Grocery. So they're opening their very first Amazon Fresh grocery stores, not Whole Foods in Los Angeles, LA's Woodland Hills. It's supposed to be the cheaper version cheaper than Whole Foods. So targeting a different shopper here than Whole Foods and hopefully cracking a different segment of the market. So think of Amazon Fresh as a competitor to Albertsons and Kroger's. Now, the store in LA will open this week to select customers in the Woodland Hills area, then open to the broader public in the coming weeks. And Amazon has plans for 3 other Fresh stores. That includes in Irvine and Northridge, California, as well as Chicago's Naperville neighborhood. Now, all of which are currently being used right now for online order fulfillment. So they have the stores ready. We don't know when they'll open, but they'll be the same size as a Whole Foods. Now, the interesting part here is the technology that'll be involved. So they'll have these new dash carts, the carts, these high-tech carts where you just put in all your foods and groceries and walk out. Yeah. It weighs it for you, but you're the type that would probably question, is that the right ounce? Did you really measure that correctly and weigh that properly?
I'm a man of the future. You'd be surprised. Thanks, Susan. Let's get on with this.
So Apple used to allow Facebook and Google and other online advertisers to access a unique phone ID that allowed apps on Facebook and Google's advertising platform to track where users go and what they search on the internet. But in Apple's new iOS software update that runs the iPhone, Facebook and Google won't be able to access this unique ID anymore. So that means apps that get the data from Facebook and Google will no longer be able to target ads to users by using this data. Now, Facebook says that that could mean the money that it makes by providing apps with this type of information could drop by 50%. And remember that nearly all of Facebook's profit comes from advertising, but supplying apps with this type of data from this unique ID is just a small slice of it. I don't think it's huge. So it does intensify, though, the tensions between Facebook and Apple, who have locked horns in the past over privacy. For instance, Tim Cook has said before that our customers are not our products and privacy is a human right. Zuckerberg called Cook's comments extremely glib. Now, Google, meantime, will block the use of cookies, where you search on search engines, and that will be eliminated in Chrome starting in 2022.
Good explanation. I followed it all the way through.
Wow. That's an A+ for me.
Hold on. I got one more for you. The standoff between, what is it, Epic Games and the makers of Fortnite and Apple. Now, I'm not quite sure I understand this, but I know that the fight is escalating. Go ahead.
That's right. So no Fortnite games updates for any players, and there are close to 400 million of them. And some of them use the iPhones. I wouldn't say all, but no updates starting today on the iPhone. And that's a result of a legal battle between Fortnite's parent Epic Games and Apple over the fees that Apple charges in the App Store. Now, the showdown started after Epic Games tested Apple and Google, by the way, by allowing players to make purchases directly in the app itself. So they sidestep the commissions that they would have to pay Apple and Google for their app stores and their app purchases. Now, both Apple and Google responded by removing Fortnite from their stores. Epic then sued Apple. Apple says this is all Epic Games' own doing. If they remove the in-app direct payment system, Fortnite will be restored and you can get updates. You can play the game. Epic has so far refused, saying it's fighting against Apple's monopoly. Now, I haven't had a chance to ask you what you think of this since you're a free marketeer, but who do you think is in the right here? Because some would say, look, this is Apple is not a utility. They're a private company. They built the iPhone. They built the App Store. And this is the price you pay to use the App Store and to gain into 1 billion iPhone customers.
I'm with them. I think that's a strong argument, and I would go with that argument.
But then why does Apple need to charge 30% commissions? If I'm Epic Games, I made Fortnite itself. I brought on the 400 million players.
Then it's a pricing question as opposed to a principle question. I mean, I think the negotiation will be the 30%.
Well, Google charges 30% too.
Right.
So if Apple does it, does Google have to do it then? They have to match, right?
I don't know. But I think it's a pricing issue.
But then you have to do it for every app on the App Store. Do you know how many there are on the App Store?
A lot.
Well, 84% are free, but the rest have to pay? I'm just saying.
No, okay. It's a hell of a fight, though, isn't it? Really, at that level, those guys going at it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Susan. It seems like
He's now the world's first $200 billion man, already the richest man in modern history when his personal fortune surpassed $150 billion 2 years ago in 2018, but then splitting his Amazon stake with his ex-wife Mackenzie last year. Mackenzie, with her 4% Amazon holdings, now the world's richest woman. Mackenzie now worth around $66 billion. Wow. And Wednesday's rally means that Amazon is also the second most valuable company in America now, overtaking Microsoft. Amazon worth around $1.7 trillion. And as for bragging rights, Bezos is now worth $78 billion more than Bill Gates at number 2. Zuckerberg and Elon Musk now make up the top 4 and select members, elite members of the $100 billion club, right?
I wonder what AOC, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez.
Tax them more. Pay your fair share.
I'm sure that Senator Warren will be chiming into this. They don't deserve $200 billion.
Well, she would actually have authority if she was Treasury Secretary.
And she would, wouldn't she? All right.
Johnson & Johnson. So they're worth more than the pharmaceutical and the consumer goods company, $400 billion and counting. Now, the 8th largest company in the S&P 500. And most of Tesla's rally and its wealth was created this year. So the stock is up fivefold. That's over 400%. Lots of catalysts here, including Tesla's first full year of profit, likely inclusion in the S&P 500, China's surging sales of Tesla electric cars, also Monday's upcoming 5-for-1 stock split, Battery Day next month, also likely to showcase Tesla's advanced battery technology, million-mile battery, hopefully. But is it in a bubble? A bubble is being used this morning to describe Tesla, and Tesla has by far the outstanding amount of short interest and short positions in the stock. Still the most shorted stock on the planet in stock markets at over $21 billion, according to S3. So they have 50% more short interest than Apple at number 2, which has only $14 billion in shorts, meaning the amount of money betting that the stock will fall. So still, a lot of naysayers out there despite the rally this year.
But you've got to have a strong stomach to short and bet that Tesla's going down.
A lot of money.
Billions.
They've lost huge. And so you would say that Elon Musk beat the shorts?
Yeah,
Shorts?
So far.